Hello, everyone. Hello again. It's a great pleasure to introduce Kristin McIver. Kristin is actually one of our first artists in residence ever at the Biennale here from quite a few years ago. And the piece that she made as part of the residency recently became a permanent fixture in Squamish, which is a town that's a little bit north of here. And I'm really looking forward to what she's doing next and how we're continuing to follow and be involved in her practice. So, Kristin, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. It's really great to be here in virtual at this beautiful expo. Yes, I'm looking forward to presenting a few of my works. First off, I'll start with the work that Natalia just mentioned, which was installed in Squamish in British Columbia for I think a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, and recently has gone back there. So this work was made in collaboration with the First Nations community, and it's very much about language and, First Nations languages, which have become, a lot of them are dormant or not spoken anymore. So this work literally, this beautiful day, Health Squalls to Stace, looks at the idea that languages are transient and formally and for thousands of years, language is passed down, purely as stories, and knowledge was passed down as stories and nothing was recorded. So the idea is to preserve that as much as possible now that there are fewer and fewer speakers. So that brings us to the next project, which is fast forward to today, where every single thing that we do is recorded, is monitored, is surveilled. So as we browse the internet or social media, every message we type, every thought we post, every image is recorded, and also the geotag location and so on. So this work is inspired by my own Facebook feed. And then if you go view the next slide, it shows a close-up of the bricks. Each one of these phrases was drawn from my own personal database, which I was able to extract from Facebook. Everyone has the ability to do that. It literally is a database of everything you've ever posted on Facebook, every message, every image, but also embedded in that is where you were when you posted the image, the timestamp, the location, the device you used when you uploaded it, where exactly you were, the geo coordinates. And then also embedded in photographs is face recognition data and so on, and I'll get to that later. So I was just looking at the idea of, as opposed to, formerly when language and knowledge was transferred, by, from generation to generation by mouth and by spoken word. Now everything we do and every communication and all our knowledge is captured and it's stored in databases and guided by algorithms. So a lot of my work is looking at this idea. So if we move to the next slide, this is a work that I mentioned earlier, that the face recognition data is a big part of that metadata embedded in images. I did a series of data portraits, which basically takes that face recognition data, and it uses a simple algorithm to translate that with a set color palette into an abstract portrait. So each color represents a number, and those numbers are drawn from the subject's face recognition data. So from a set color palette, which was actually drawn from one of the Warhol celebrity portraits, if you'll notice the colors there, because I'm looking at social media as a new form of celebrity and micro-celebrity. So the face recognition data of each subject that participated in this project was translated into a colourful abstract portrait, sort of in the manner of a paint by numbers, but using an algorithm to drive that process. And then the next slide is actually, more of those works. So you can each of these works has the same colour palette, but a different subject's face recognition data, again, drawn from Facebook. The two on the end there are actually twins, and that is actually something that is quite concerning, because if you think about twins, they should have similar face recognition data. But as you can see by there, that their numbers are completely different. So it sort of leads you to question if Facebook is, selling. They have the biggest database of face recognition data in the world. They have some 2.9 billion sets of data there because they have some users. They sell that data to the FBI and airport security and so on, so that they can cross-check on people coming through. So it leads you to think if two twins can have completely different face recognition data, then how accurate can it be? So it's sort of a little bit concerning in that regard. So if we go move on to the next screen, this is another work, and it uses the same process, but instead of a color palette, a palette of 10 colors, this one uses a palette of 10 words. So I use the same face recognition data and then a set palette of 10 words, which were drawn from a 10-word poem. And then I essentially reordered the words and resampled the poem using that face recognition data to create a data poem. So it's completely algorithmically generated. Yet if you read the words, it actually becomes almost beautiful in parts where it looks like it's written by a human, but it's purely written by an algorithm. So I like that idea of, the written word that we read, and especially today, we cannot really look at words as anything other than words. The truth that they carry, is manipulated. It's guided by algorithms that are tailored to us based on what we post on Facebook and so on. So we're really looking at we're living in an age where information is becoming polarizing, because we're just seeing more and more of the same information, because these algorithms, they're using artificial intelligence to sort of get to know us and then predict what we would like to see. So the words that we're reading and the articles and the posts we see on social media are all geared to each individual. And also then we look at the feeds of those around us and we feel they have the same opinions because it's being shared that way. And that sort of led to a lot of, the issues with increased polarization as we've seen in this election time in the US here. So if we move along, this is a piece, Talking Circle, which actually uses the same face recognition data. And I'm just going to describe it here because it's a long piece, but it uses sound bites, so 10 sound bites as opposed to 10 colors or 10 words as the palette for the artwork. And then the face recognition data is used as an algorithm to sequence those sound bites. And these sound bites were recorded whilst at the Vancouver Biennale as well. They were natural sounds interspersed with this beautiful day spoken in Squamish Nation language, which is Hal Squal to stay. But again, it uses algorithms and natural sounds to create an augmented reality, and then it was installed back in the forest as a sort of sound installation there. If we move along, this one is about the national debt figure, the US national debt figure, which when I created this, I think it was 2018, the national debt figure was 18,267,982,028,700,000, and so on. It's such a long number you can't even view it as a number, as a comprehensive number. If you view that number, it is so large. Now the figure is 27 trillion something. So it's gone up just over the 2 years, probably a lot to do with COVID as well. And so it becomes a number. Even as numbers, it's sort of abstract. So I even wrote that out as words, which makes it even more incomprehensible. And you can never even see the words in one go because each string is so long. And so that's the national debt taken over 30 days back in 2018. The next slide is a video. This was created on a residency in Curacao back in January, just before COVID hit. And again, I'm using the same process, except instead of colors or words or sounds, I'm using video clips. So I recorded, 10 or 20 video clips, and then I used climate data, for example, ocean temperatures over the last 30 years. as the data and an algorithm to sequence those clips automatically to create an artificial narrative. So while I have something in mind, the work has become something, generated by AI essentially. But it becomes also something that has meaning. It's about climate change, and just the clips suggest that. And then the last one, I'll just speak quickly because I know we're running out of time, is a new work that I'm going to be showing with the Vancouver Biennale as part of this expo. And it was literally being created over the last couple of weeks in New York during the election week, with all the shop fronts boarded up. And I have a video piece with that uses the same technique of algorithms and data. And then I'm going to have another piece live streaming directly into the virtual space, which we can talk about that in the Q&A. But you'll be able to view it in crypto voxels in a virtual space, but live streamed directly from Soho. In front of the boarded up shop front, which is still there because people are still not sure about what's going to happen, because Trump still hasn't really conceded the election yet. So there's still a bit of tension in the air. So the stores aren't quite sure whether to take down the boards yet or leave them up, or, so it's a very strange time here in New York. So I thought it'd be good to make work around that. And so thank you. So let me know if you have any questions.